Are you drained of constantly setting ambitious goals for yourself every year, only to procrastinate as the months go by? Only completing your work when motivated to, but struggle to stay disciplined since you lack any deep reasoning to stay committed and push through when you feel like giving up the most? If you want to change, you must change your mindset first. If you don't think of yourself as someone who can put in the work and do the hard things, before you're even in the physical state of doing something, you have already failed. Being a successful man takes many sacrifices, sacrifices that will strip you of a comfortable and straightforward life. If you desire to create something new, you must take the path that is unknown. You must be willing to stumble in the darkness and overcome the fear if you want to reach the end of the tunnel. Become the man willing to fail and humiliate himself in front of his doubters in order to create something never seen before. Become a Renaissance man. The modern man needs to make these 3 changes in his lifestyle. That is, he needs to exercise and train his body, consume information with a purpose, and transform that information into wisdom, which benefits his life through the process of creation. In order to excel in all regions, you must, and I say this with emphasis, end your laziness. Being lazy only holds you back from achieving what you've set out to do, but it also makes you worse as a human being. James Allen, the author of As a Man to Think, wrote, "Men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves." Man visualizes his goals so much and so often that it almost takes the same amount of effort to actually put in the work. Not only does he lose the ability to go all in, which is a must for achieving goals, but he also begins to forget the purpose of hard work. Without challenges, man grows weaker in mind and body. Nothing will work unless you do. Maya Angelou. Intentionally challenging ourselves and getting out of our comfort zone is the only path to improvement. Years of success are but the composition of daily work. In order to be the one who others rely on, you must be the person who does what others find painfully hard, so hard that it isn't worth doing. Enjoy that pain. Aristotle once said, "Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work." Daily work must be done regardless of your feelings. In my opinion, it's better to enjoy it rather than hate it. This next point might sound a little controversial on the topic of self-improvement. It is to be consumed. Consume, 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 but all in moderation. All things you know derive from some sort of consummation or absorption of information. Without proper absorption, you will not be able to retain the information, whether it is useful or not. If someone's primary goal is to use their time wisely, learning how to consume and utilize information is an important factor to consider. Learning how to absorb information is just as valuable as using it to create wisdom. The type of information you take in also matters, so watch what you consume. Anything, be it junk food, television, or anything that seems unimportant or insightful, such as books, lectures, YouTube videos, and even news. The modern man wastes so much valuable time scrolling his life away. But as soon as time comes to put in work, he procrastinates. What has that accomplished? What did it benefit? Absolutely nothing. In the grand scheme of things, scrolling through social media is nothing but a waste of time, and should not be on your daily agenda. Replace social media with books, preferably non-fiction. Replace video games with exercise. And if the modern man feels as if there is a benefit in using social media, then let him reason with himself. Do I really need this? If yes, then why? Most will find their answer. Some might argue that using our phones during times like waiting for a bus or cooking a meal isn't all that bad, since scrolling can give so much insight so quickly. That would be true if you managed to contain that insight and use it for yourself. However, it is basically impossible. We live in the age of information, where knowledge is freely available at your fingertips. Change your surroundings and what you consume. The modern man should think to himself and say, is this benefiting me in any way, shape, or form? That's the kind of mindset the modern man should have, where he should only consume and absorb content that is beneficial. With all that insight you've just obtained, there has to be a process in which you formulate wisdom from knowledge. This process includes piecing together small, miniature bits of information into one giant web of knowledge. This web does not and shouldn't be limited to the capacity of the brain. Great note-taking apps like Obsidian and Notion can store all of your important ideas within a click of a button, including your smartphone. Or you can go completely analog and use a commonplace book to store ideas. Then, with this web and the plethora of information you've collected, you begin to see connections and links between topics, having the ability to dive deeper into the topic through its similarities with the ideas of another topic. All of this opens up a new way of looking at the information, allowing you to understand deeply what it is you're consuming and how the information relates to other ideas or thoughts you've had before. Imagine reading a book without ever stopping to understand ideas from the author, just letting the words on the page remain as they are. The modern man lacks the ability to turn his creativity into wealth. Think about all the men out there working 9-to-5s, working like dogs just so they can get by and feed their families. And when they finally get home, they either have other responsibilities to take care of, or they have little energy left, so they go straight to bed. And the cycle repeats. In order to break this cycle, the modern man must learn how to create his own wealth, not only that, create a path of success for himself. If you look back in ancient Greece, look at all the fantastic sculptures they have created with their own hands. As men in today's age, we can use that same concept for ourselves, create our own wealth, build and beautify our looks and physique, create ideas, build communities, inspire people around us. Becoming a modern Renaissance man is about more than just setting goals and hoping for the best. It requires a deep transformation in your mindset, habits, and daily practices. By focusing on exercising and training your body, consuming information purposefully, and creating wisdom from that knowledge, you can break free from the cycle of procrastination and unfulfilled potential. The journey to self-improvement is not an easy one. It demands sacrifices, discipline, and a willingness to face challenges head-on. But remember, the greatest achievements are born from the greatest efforts. Embrace the discomfort, push through the hard times, and you will find yourself not only reaching your goals, but exceeding them. Take the first step today. Commit to being the man who is willing to fail and learn, to stumble and rise, to turn knowledge into wisdom and dreams into reality. Become the modern Renaissance man and unlock the full potential of your mind and body. The path may be unknown and fraught with obstacles, but the end of the tunnel holds the success and fulfillment you seek. So, exercise daily, consume with purpose, and create with passion. Your future self will thank you for the effort you put in today. Remember, the only way to achieve greatness is to work for it every single day.